Hey, it's Minnow here. Now, today, I'm gonna do a quick tutorial of how I end up doing my covers on FL Studio. It's really not that hard, but, here's how I do it. So, you have FL Studio open, alright? So, what you do is you hit File, and then you want to import a Midi file if you're using a Midi. So, what you do is, you select one of your Midis you have if you downloaded a MIDI. I know a good MIDI pack. Just look up FNF Ultimate MIDIs. It has like 12 over 1,000 MIDIs in there. So like I'd recommend that one. It doesn't have all the current up to date MIDIs since it was last updated 2 months ago. If you want to find those, I'd suggest just looking them up on Google and pray to God you find a great YouTube video. But let's say you want to do Chiller from the Friday Night Funkin' Corruption mod. Um, you just do that and then you just drag the MIDI on here. And I use chromatic scales to make my MIDI. So what you do is if you have a chromatic scale, you hit whatever chromatic scale. So I'll use mine and then I'll open up in SliceX. Now, if you're lucky, you already have your. If you're lucky enough to get a chromatic scale in a WAV file, pre-made, your thing will end up looking like this, except without the wavy lines. The wavy lines are what the actual sounds are, and the markers are where your notes will be at. So you kind of got. Oh no. You kind of get. That's not what I want to do. You kind of get. What? Why is it not doing it? I don't like that. Okay. Like yeah. You know. I don't like it when it does that. Yeah. No, you kind of get all the stuff. Yeah, you get all that stuff. So you already have your chromatic skill set. And then you hop out this. So yeah, that's one chromatic. But you know how FNF is. Half the songs you need two people. Whoa. So you if you want to use a different chromatic scale that doesn't have it saved, like with the markers, what you would do is hope to God that they look like this and not all jabbered around like mine. And you see this little thing my mouse is hovering over. You right click that and then hit dull auto slicing, and you have your chromatic scale there. And then you hover, you hit the piano icon, and then hit Control X. That way it doesn't cover the entire thing. And then same thing with the other one as well. Now you see how the MIDI is lower than that. If I use my chromatic scale on this side, it will make sound. If you go lower than that, it won't make any sound at all. So if your thing's scuffed up like that, you're gonna wanna like hit Control A and then drag it up an octave. So where this thing says B4, you would want that to be dragged up to B5. So you just drag it up to B5. And you want to do that with the other one if that one doesn't work with it as well. So you hit Control A on the other MIDI, and then A4 to A5. See? Now what you do is you zoom in, and then you try to match up your scale as best as you can. So I always have mine set to 1/6. That way I could get all the smallest ones. But if it's like a good enough song to actually have the MIDI files to have it like that, because you have problems if it goes like that sometimes. So I'll go 1/4, maybe a 1/6 again. You just Oh, okay. If it's one of these instances where it goes slightly over and that slightly pisses you off, you hit none, and then you could just drag it even smaller. That way you could actually have it correct this time. So like you could do that. Yeah. So yeah, you know. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a song that repeats itself, like it repeats the opponent instead of having that, those solo parts that don't match with other people, you hit Control. You mark all of that together and then hit Control C, and then you go to the other player and then you hover over onto their side, and then you hit Control V. That's how I do a lot of my repeating covers. So it'll be like. Now, if you start thinking, man, this guy's vocals, it sounds a bit lower, you could go ahead and do that, and then if you want to, raise it up another octave. Now, I get a lot of questions saying, "Hey, how do you do the thing in FL?" What you do is you either click on another note, and that way it matches that, and double click the one you want to go slide up. So that way you could hit that little slide button right there. Hit accept and then drag this one. I recommend down, like, do lower than the original. That way you can hit it on tune. So it'll sound like. Oh wait, that's not a best spot to do that. Right here would be a better spot. Now you see how that didn't sound on tune? If you want it to be very quick, shorten it down. That way you get. Cause adjust it the way you want it to sound like. If it doesn't sound right, But yeah. Also, while your music is paused, go ahead and hit this thing and then organize this stuff. Always put everything else on a number that isn't 1, because 1 is the Midi file. It's already set to 1. So that way you could hit that thing and you could adjust the audio on both of them. Alright. So, adjust it the way you want it to sound like. Or either you want it to be immediate, or if you want it to be super, take the whole time. Whatever you want to do to make it sound good is okay, but personally, I like to have it shorter than short unless it's a song that requires it to. But yeah, that's basically how I make my covers. What else will I be missing? Always explore your vocals. If you plan on making this into like a mod, like a playable song, go ahead and export and then OGG file. And then if correction. Let's say you want to put the instrumental into this. I don't have the right instrumental right now. I'm not going to spend time to pull it out. But you could, let's say you put the instrumental right here, right? You could hit track 2. You could mute the track on there. and then you could export it as an OGG file, and then put the name it vocals in whatever mod folder you need it to be in, and then mute the main vocals and leave the instrumental, and then do the same exact thing except name the song inside the folder inst, like instrumental, but the first four letters, so INST, and make sure the first letter is capitalized. But yeah, that's basically how I do my covers. Thanks for watching. Be careful. Expect a new playable song to come out soon. I'm planning on doing some of my old covers that I do, except playable, since I never really had a sprite sheet before until the Unwell cover. But yeah, safe days, everyone. Be careful.